Say Saturday I would shoot 2 to 3 videos, and Sunday I would shoot 1 to 2 videos, then edit them. I didn't even have an editor on board at that time. But I had a lot of acne at that time. So I was very like nervous about it. I was like not sure if I should post it because I had this impression that influencer posts are supposed to be perfect. I had 31 million views at that time. And I was all over the moon. I was like, they were all just bashing about how can I promote a skincare product when my skin looks like that. I was like, okay, like I want to start creating content which is authentic. I don't want to hide behind filters. I don't want to fake it. I want to show what real skin looks like, what real body looks like. I'm a little picky, so I'm not going to jump on every trend. It's not like I'm exposing a lot, but it's elegant enough to go from day to night. Like if you ask my team, they would tell you that I'm way too organized. I have Excel sheets, I have documents, but I basically update them like on weekly basis, and it has content calendar. So her style is, it's not basic, it's not over the top, but it hits the right spot. It changes your whole mood in a way that your outfit reflects who you are.
Yes.
That's the first thing any person would see. Just accepting who you are, loving your body for everything it does for you and provides for you, and just being thankful every single day. So many Indian designers have been absolutely killing it. And not just on the Indian stage, but globally. Or maybe like I can create a capsule wardrobe for you if you come to me and just, like give them that kind of a consultation. So something probably on those lines where
Hello, honey. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. What about you? I'm very excited to be here, by the way.
Yeah, I'm doing good as well. It's lovely to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So for the viewers who are just getting to know you, tell us about yourself.
So I'm Honey Shade, and I've been creating content for the last 6 years. I predominantly create content in the beauty, fashion, and lifestyle space. And you'll hear more about my journey as we go into the podcast.
Yeah, let's go. Let's start. Okay. So how did you start your content journey?
So I want to actually start from my love or passion for makeup.
Okay.
It started when I saw my mom applying lipsticks, and I will send you a picture of that, but it's one of the fondest memory. Like anytime she would put on a lipstick, I just get the sense that, oh, she looks so powerful, she looks so beautiful, like, like she is one of the most beautiful women on earth right now. And I feel like she was the one who kind of inspired me in ways to, take up makeup or just like learn or whatever. So she would always apply lipstick for me, and I would feel like, oh wow, like I'm the queen.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's when it actually started. Then over the years, I started watching a lot of, YouTube videos, just learning. There are so many products. I'm obviously tried to like educate myself on what to use where. And then I started like trying to apply it on me. My mom got me my very first makeup kit. She was like, okay, like, go ahead, go wild, do what you want.
Yeah.
And yeah, soon enough, I just realized that, okay, like it's so exciting. It's sort of a form of self-expression in a way. It's art in itself.
Yes.
And yeah, that's when I was like, okay, like this is something I love, but I never thought of it in a way that I could turn it into a career. So, in terms of starting off my journey, I have always been a curious person.
Okay.
So, like if I tell you right now, my background is finance, journalism, PR.
Wow.
And here I'm doing content creation.
Okay.
So I just like at that time, I just saw like, people posting or just sharing their love for different things. And like one such person I was inspired by was Ashna Shroff.
Okay.
So like very early on in the days, like I saw her posting content, and I kept on thinking like, oh, this would be so cool to do, like you go out there, you take some pictures, you share it on your Instagram, and you get to work with brands that way.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like, maybe like I want to give that a shot as well. So one random day, random afternoon, I have sent like 30-40 cold DMs to brands saying, oh, like, do you want to work with me? It'd be so cool. I'd love to create content with you for you.
Yeah.
And one brand actually got back and they were like, oh, we'd love to, like, we'll send you a bunch of our products. You can try, let us know what you think, and then you can create content. And at that time, there was no Reels.
Yeah.
So it was like a static or a carousel pose that you could do.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried out, it was lipstick, which was so good.
Okay.
And I ended up creating content for them, which one, they loved, and two, I felt like, oh wow, this was so much fun. Like, I want to do more of this.
Yeah.
And then I just started like creating content with the products that I had in my kit back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just tag brands, like,
Okay.
just so they would notice the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then eventually I started reaching out to them a little more. Of course, now I have like a team who reaches out to brands that I want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, they've been doing everything that I want to do. They make my dream come true in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is kind of how it started, and like I just fast forwarded to the end. But overall, that was the start of my love for makeup, fashion, everything.
Okay. So when you said that this brand reached out to you, at that time you were full-time content creating, or was it like a कुछ और भी कर रहा है साथ में और फिर content भी साथ में कर रहा है?
So funny thing, I actually did PR for the last 6 years. So I was balancing both in a way. So I had a full-time job at one of the leading PR agencies, and I had communications for a lot of fantastic brands, which I love even now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just did it alongside that for the last 5 years. I quit my job last April. I just ended up taking like a leap of faith and being like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best decisions of my life in a way, because I got to create so much more content, get a lot closer with my community.
Yeah.
Because back then I had to, I had, of course, like I said, I had a full-time job where I was working 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And I would just create content over the weekends.
Okay.
So my social life took a hit.
Yeah.
I didn't have any time for my own personal, I didn't have like a personal time in a way.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, like, and in the last year, I feel like I've grown so much more. I've learned so much more about myself, so much more about the ways I can contribute to the community that I've built, that I feel like it was one good decision.
One good decision. But even that time you were creating content which was so good. How are you keeping up with everything? Because you mean to say like 5 days you are working, and then even like so 24/7 you are working. So how
Yeah.
did you ground yourself in that situation?
I think I was too exhausted to have any other thoughts to ground myself. Like, I feel like I was just hustling. And I couldn't catch a break in a way. And I think the only way I could do that was to just be more organized in a way. Like, I would just batch create content.
Okay.
So like maybe like on, say, Saturday I would shoot 2 to 3 videos, on Sunday I would shoot 1 to 2 videos, then edit them. I didn't even have an editor on board at that time.
Oh my god.
So I was doing everything end to end. And yeah, and then eventually I was like, okay, like, now's a good time to start outsourcing things. So I think 2 years ago, I started outsourcing it to editors, videographers, everything, to take stuff off of my plate. But before that, it was like doing everything from end to end.
Yeah. Very difficult for creators when when you're working with brands and everything. So how do you cope up with that, and how do you bring authenticity to your content?
So I actually have a story on what drove me to be authentic. It was, I think, about 3.5 years ago. I had just created a reel for a skincare brand. And I remember, like, it did well, but I had a lot of acne at that time. So I was very, like, nervous about it. I was, like, not sure if I should post it, because I had this impression that, influencer posts are supposed to be perfect, like, you got the right light, you got the right filter.
Yeah.
But, like, obviously, like, I didn't want to, like, put on makeup for a skincare collaboration. So I went ahead, did it anyway. I posted the reel, and it supposedly did really well. Okay, like, I had 31 million views at that time.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was all over the moon. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But then, as soon as I started seeing the comments,
Oh.
they were all just bashing about how can I promote a skincare product when my skin looks like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was brutal. And I just felt so bad about it that I decided that I'll just go underground. So I have, like, switched off my phone. I have just decided that I'll take some me time, like, not care about it and everything. But obviously, at the end of the day, that was one of my very first posts where I got so many negative
Yeah.
comments, right?
Mhm.
And then eventually I switch on my phone naturally,
Yeah.
and I see this one DM from a girl who said that, you know, finally it's like someone is actually showing what real skin should look like.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that does make a lot of sense, you know, because again, like people assume that influencers' skin's perfect, or like you're not supposed to have pores, you're not supposed to have acne.
Yeah.
And that was such a strong moment of self realization in a way,
Mhm.
that I was like, okay, like I want to start creating content which is authentic. I don't
Yeah.
want to hide behind filters. I don't want to fake it. I
Yeah.
want to show what real skin looks like, what real body looks like.
Mhm.
Like I don't want to like do what everyone else has been doing.
Mhm.
Like even now, if you see, there are so many people who have filters on
Yeah.
like a skincare makeup
Yeah,
or skincare or makeup videos, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you're promoting unattainable standards of beauty, unattainable
Yes.
standards of body in a
Yes,
way.
Yes.
That's when I actually decided to start creating more authentic content. So I tried to create content which was as raw as possible, as
Mhm.
real as me as possible. And honestly, that changed everything in terms of my content game, because I became a lot more stronger, bolder. I knew what I wanted to do, and
Mhm.
I knew I wanted to go out there and get it.
Yeah. And I think in that moment, when you are getting these hate comments, one, that DM has changed so much. That is how you see that you are building something that is for people to feel that, yeah, we are being included, and maybe that, I might have the same issue. Oh my God, I can relate to this.
So the idea is not to have content where people think it's aspirational, but
Mhm.
something that's real, something that they can
Yes.
recreate, something that they
Yeah.
believe in.
Yeah. So for even when influencing word is used, it's like to, influence people to actually do better,
Correct.
not to feel bad about themselves. Because when you have
Exactly.
all these filters and when you do that, everyone will be like, yeah, if I do this, I might also have this, but you don't. You have pores, and pores are gonna show. Yeah.
This is actually a conversation I was having with this other influencer, I think last week,
Mhm.
where she put up a story of her bare face,
Mhm.
and so many people just commented that, oh, like your skin's not supposed to look like that. And then she just went on her stories and she was like, this is how skin is supposed to look
Look
like.
like.
Like, you know, are you living
Yeah.
under a rock?
Yeah.
So I feel like that is such a powerful message to convey,
Mhm.
because everything's so like camouflaged in the
Yes.
reels that you see that you
Yeah.
actually don't know
Yeah,
how
yeah,
your skin is supposed to look like.
Yeah, and that rawness, and that brings me to community that you have built over these years. How important is community building for you?
Very. Honestly, I think
Mhm.
that's one of the biggest things for me, because
Mhm.
I'm not here to talk about the number of followers I have, but I'm
Yeah.
here to say, even if I just help like a fraction of it,
Yeah.
at least I know I'm having a positive impact on a
Mhm.
couple of girls who are out there probably scared, don't know what to do with what,
Yeah.
don't know what their body should look like. But
Mhm.
basically being there for these fraction of people at
Yes.
most, to
Yeah.
like, you know, just showing them what it really is out there.
Yeah, but in this era of trends, how do you do you follow trends? Do you not? What is your take on trends now?
I'm a little picky,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not going to jump on every trend, but
Mhm.
something that seamlessly blends in with my content, probably.
Yeah.
Like now, for example, like I'll tell you, like there are all of these makeup transition ones.
Mm-hmm.
So on those days, I would probably create one transition look, but I'm not going to do like 4 transition videos.
Yeah.
And then I would also do like a tutorial breakdown where I show how to exactly achieve that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like trends in general have very little value. Like it's going to help you gain momentum, but it's
Mhm.
not something that's going to stay for forever.
Yeah.
So you rather want to create content which you know your community will like, which actually is educative, informative, helpful to all of them.
Yeah. Because views will come, but the followers will stay
Exactly.
only because you have that authentic content here.
Correct.
Yeah, that is so true. So, how did you start into fashion? I want to know about your fashion, your style.
So I mean, I'd say it took me very long to figure out what suits me, what doesn't suit me.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
and I feel like I obviously did evolve with what's trending, like trousers or corset tops or
Yeah.
stuff like that, you know. So,
Yeah.
but again, I would be very picky in terms of what I want to wear, and more importantly, how do I want to style it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's no longer about choosing between comfort or style, but it's how you blend the two effortlessly.
Yeah. So when is there like a piece in your wardrobe that you feel is, this is my comfort clothing?
I would honestly say what I'm wearing right now. Like, you
Okay.
can never go wrong with a black dress.
Mm.
This has like a little bit of slit here. It's almost like a maxi dress in a way,
Mhm.
and it fits beautifully. It hugs at the right places. So you
Yeah.
know it's not like I'm exposing a lot, but it's
Yeah.
elegant enough to go from day to night.
Yeah.
And obviously, accessorizing changes with where I'm going. So
Mhm.
there can be times where I can tie a scarf and just elevate the look.
Yeah.
Or if I want to keep it basic, just have chunky gold jewelry paired with it.
Mhm.
Maybe switch up the heels, add like a nice handbag to it. So it's
Yeah.
more about it's more about building a wardrobe which is capsule. So you
Mhm.
have like key essential pieces, and then you can style them in so many different ways
Yeah.
just by switching up like the accessories.
Yeah. So accessories. Which is your favorite accessory?
I love rings in general.
Mm-hmm.
So like today
Wow.
I have these two,
Ah, wow.
and I love chunky jewelry. So
Mhm.
like if you see the earring is
Yeah.
also like a gold bar in a way,
Yes, yes.
and I feel like this also goes with
Mm.
everything,
Yeah.
and it's perfect from day to night. So I basically love jewelry that can elevate the look but not look over the top.
Yeah.
So I think
Mhm.
these are the key things. I also occasionally love wearing bracelets. I love a good charm bracelet. Like,
Oh, wow.
it just makes me feel like really cute, really
Yeah.
nice. I think that's probably it.
Yeah. Charm bracelets. Is there a story that do you have like a charm bracelet where you travel and then you keep on adding charms in it?
Kind of.
Uh-huh.
So I got my favorite charm bracelet was the one that I got it made in New York.
Mhm.
It was my lifelong dream to go to New York, and I achieved that last year. So I saw this charm bracelet stall over there where you could basically add whatever charms you want.
Mhm.
So I picked up different elements of that. And during my trip over there, I also went to San Francisco, Chicago. So I also picked up charms from there and added
Yeah.
elements to it.
Wow.
And that is like one of my favorite things to wear.
Yeah. And that brings you so much comfort as well when you wear it because
Yeah.
so much thought is going behind that.
And you fully customize it. Each and everything
Yes.
on that charm is something that holds a special place in your heart in a way.
Yeah. When you are creating content, is there like a process that you follow?
I'm very organized. Like, if
Mhm.
you ask my team, they would tell you that I'm way too organized.
Okay.
I have Excel sheets, I have documents,
Mhm.
but I basically update them like on weekly basis.
Mhm.
And it has content calendar. So all the content that I want to create in this month, all the stories I want to share with my community, all the
Mhm.
messages that I want to send on the broadcast channel,
Mhm.
all the brands that I want to work with, I have made a list of that. So
Mhm.
I'm a very organized person, and I also
Yeah.
make my team work really hard in updating that.
Wow.
So I feel like it's very easy when you're that organized. And I also now have like a very fixed schedule in a way.
Okay.
So I wake up at 5 a.m., I go to the gym at 6, I come back, freshen up everything. I start work in the first half, like 9 to 12. I'm just finishing anything operational that I have to do.
Mhm.
Between 12 to 4, I would end up shooting content that I want to shoot.
Mhm.
4 to 6 is usually like editing or sending the entire dump to the editor.
Mhm.
And by 6:37, have dinner, sleep by 9.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like a very fixed routine, and it really helps because then you're making sure that you have that work-life balance. You're still getting work done. You're
Mhm.
not missing out on anything. So I feel again, just being organized has kind of made this whole process a lot more easier and seamless.
Yeah. But the seamless is the discipline is there, but sometimes when you're creating content, when you're being in the creative part of it, there might be times when you have like a creative block.
Correct.
Ab nahi ho raha mujhse.
Hmm.
So at that time, what did you do?
So I have dedicated 2 days each month
Mm-hmm.
where I don't do anything.
Okay.
So I just sit and reflect on what did well, what did not do well, what could I have done better, how could I contribute more to the people who are tuning in, seeing what I'm doing, everything. And those 2 days just gives me a lot of clarity. Like
Yeah.
even if you sit and analyze what's working, you can adapt it into a different format and do something. What's not working, then why did it not work, deep diving into it. So literally just taking 2 days where I'm not creating content, where I'm not thinking about Ajay next month ye karenge, nothing.
Yeah.
Like you're just taking that time to like truly reflect on the month it's been and what more could you be doing. And a lot of times I get like ideas probably when I'm working out or just when I'm lying in bed before I'm gonna go to sleep,
Yeah.
and I'll just make a note of it. Like I literally just put in the idea onto a notes app, and then next morning I would sit and refine it and then add it to the content calendar that I've built for the month.
Wow. So, in the daily life, is there like a me time and just the me thing that you do just for yourself?
Yes.
Not for everyone. No one is like, in that space.
I would say generally over the weekends, I just take a lot of downtime. So I there are days where I don't even open Instagram.
Oh, wow.
I've just scheduled content.
Okay.
So then I know it's gonna go up. I don't have to like worry. And yeah, then I just like, I also have like a 1 hour limit on my app.
Oh, okay.
So just to kind of limit the usage, spend more time doing something that's a little more productive. And yeah, I think that really helps because then I'm more focused on being present in the moment rather than thinking about, "Arey, ye bhi karna hai, ye bhi
Yeah.
karna hai,"
You are online, you are showing your life to everyone, being authentic and everything aside. When do you choose that, this is the content that I want to share about my personal life and this is the content that I don't want to share? How do you choose and what is that?
So very honestly, I'm very transparent when it comes to sharing things that are close to my life. I've never kind of held back in terms of drawing a line that this is not what I want to share, or probably creating another secret account which is private but just with all of my close
Yeah.
friends. Like I've never done that. So I feel like again the whole point of my content was to be very authentic, to share the real version of me, right?
Yeah.
So which is why I don't really think that I have kind of hidden a part of my life or anything. I've been very like focused and very like open in terms of sharing whatever I want to.
Yeah, but there are times that this is a personal moment. How do you like, because are creating content almost all the time.
Correct.
So how do you choose that this is something that I want to show about? So maybe like a moment that, okay, in a whole moment you are just showing some part of it, or like not everything, because something that you would want for your own personal as well, right? So is
True.
there something like that?
I wouldn't say so. Like, I'll give you an example of TEDx, okay? So, like, speaking at TEDx was one of the biggest thing that's happened to me.
Okay.
And I did not share anything until the day that I was speaking.
Okay.
So, obviously, I did a lot of prep and everything, but I recorded all of that. I have all of the intention to share every moment that I'm feeling with people who kind of are rooting for me in a way. So as soon as I finished my speech at TEDx, I've gone and uploaded like bits and pieces of like how I kind of got there.
Yeah.
So I feel like I do always document in a way whatever I'm feeling, because it's also a sense of reflection, because then when I look at it, I know I was like, oh, this is how I felt in this specific moment, you know.
Wow.
So yeah, I feel like I've always gone ahead and shared. Probably sometimes it's a little later than in the moment, but I think I've always shared everything that I want to like, kind of put it out there.
Yeah, and how does it take mentally when you are constantly on your phone, or maybe you said that you have like a 1 hour thing, but there are hate comments.
Correct.
During that time, how mentally do you rewind again?
So honestly, I feel like it's very easy for people to sit behind a computer screen and leave comments.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sure like if someone left it on their posts or their, I don't know, like reels or whatever, they would probably feel the same thing that we're feeling.
Yes.
So I think for me, it was more important to take a step back and know that they're human too. Like, it doesn't matter. You kind of learn how to tune out the noise eventually.
Yeah.
And like, even now, I still get a lot of DMs where it's not necessarily nice.
Yeah.
So it's just more about, okay, like, you just kind of let it go in a way. Again, working out has calmed me down a lot. So I feel like, I'm in a much better space after I've worked out. Like, I'll just be like, okay, you know what, like, nothing matters. It's all good. Like, so I think it's probably like over the years, you kind of understand how to like deal with it.
Yeah, okay. Is there a movie or like a movie character or a series character with whom you can, relate to in your style way?
Not relate to, but someone I aspire is Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl.
Oh my god,
She-
iconic.
Yeah, she's my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
And I've watched Gossip Girl like 7 times. You know,
Everyone
like,
has, yes,
yeah.
yes.
And I feel like every time I watch it,
Mhm.
her style it's not basic, it's
Yeah.
not over the top,
Yeah.
but it hits the right spot.
Yes, yes.
Like Serena, for example, she's
Mhm.
always dressed in golds, her style is
Yeah.
very OTT, you
Yes,
know.
yes.
But Blair is the right point of elegance and style.
Yeah.
And that is again something I love personally. So I feel like if I could dress up as any character, that would probably be her.
Yeah. Wow. So if you would want to change something about Blair's outfits or maybe her style, what would you add just about yourself to You
So
know?
I don't like Prince a lot.
okay.
So like even if you see all of my reels, I
Mhm.
mainly wear different styles
Mhm.
but solids.
Yeah.
Or like different material or texture or something
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
But I don't like overpowering prints.
Mhm.
So I think probably like switch up 1 or 2 of her outfits, which I think would look so much more gorgeous than the floral print,
yeah.
but just switch it into solids.
yeah. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. So you are not much of a pattern person.
Yeah, I was.
Mhm.
And they're great for brunches and everything, but for
Yeah.
dinner, you want to wear something that's a little more solid
yeah.
because it makes you look a lot more elegant, classier, richer in a way.
Yeah.
So I feel like after that, like I started like switching up my wardrobe to a lot more solids.
Oh, okay. So was there a moment where you were leaving the house and you thought that you feel like I love this, and then when you go out and you'll be like, no, maybe not.
A lot of times, actually, I'm the most indecisive person. So, like, even before coming here on this podcast, I've probably changed 3 outfits, went to my mom and be like, okay, like, can you help me pick which one? So, it's just very me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was just like, okay, like, there are a lot of times when I feel like one of the baddest decisions was wearing white and monsoon.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was the most beautiful dress. Okay. And I stepped out. And it's pouring. And I instantly regretted it. I just wanted to go home and change.
Yeah, oh my god. But that was the moment when everything goes, haywire as well.
Yeah, because I
When
feel
you-
like if my outfit's not right, my mood's not right.
Oh yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
directly makes you okay, how do I put this? It changes your whole mood in a way that your outfit reflects who you are.
Yes.
That's the first thing any person would see.
Yeah.
So then I feel like, okay, like if that's not right, then I'm not right.
Okay. So let's associate emotions with your style, okay?
Okay.
So if you are feeling happy, what would your outfit look like?
Color tones would be white or beige. It would probably be a blue denim or a very comfortable trouser.
If you are irritated about something and you have to just go out.
A super basic short sleeve t-shirt with blue denims.
Okay.
Like as basic as it could be.
Yeah. If you are sad person.
Then my hair would be in a bun.
Mhm.
And I probably have, I think like I wouldn't care as much about what I'm wearing if I'm deep into like sorrow,
yeah.
but something that's very comfortable. So maybe like a quad set
yeah.
or I think probably that.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you like to travel?
I love to travel.
Yeah. So any places that you have in your mind that was the best trip?
I would say parts of Europe and again New York in a way, because you see so many different kinds of people come together in
Yeah.
one place,
Yeah.
and everyone has such a distinctive style in their own way. And even if you see 2 people wearing the most basic outfit, they will still accessorize or style it in a way that it looks very different from each other.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like a hotspot of all things fashion.
Yeah. So, is there a city or maybe a country whose style you loved?
I don't really have a country in my mind, but I feel like for fashion it'll probably be Paris. You know, just like
Yeah.
with the number of like people who style so elegantly on a
Yes.
day-to-day basis,
Yeah,
you know?
that is.
Right?
They do it how I don't know, because you will find every style
Exactly.
from crop tops to oversized to full bodycon dresses every day, and you'll see them like just walk and everyone is like, oh wow, amazing.
And they pull it off so effortlessly.
Yes, amazing. That is so good. So when you plan your trips, do you plan your outfits before, and what is that process?
Actually, I used to do that for the longest time. I was the person who would always overpack,
Okay.
and then I wouldn't be able to carry my own stuff. So
Yeah.
then my friends are roped in and they were like, please stop carrying so many clothes.
Yeah.
So now I started doing the other way around.
Yeah.
So I would generally like book tickets to wherever I'm going, figure out what the weather is like, then figure out how many outfits do I actually need. How
Yeah.
many just in case outfits do I need additionally?
Yeah.
And then plan accordingly.
Okay. Any travel stories with fashion that you will always have like a core memory?
So actually it's a brand called Ozeko.
Okay.
They do core outfits with detachables. Okay. So you
Okay.
can take one core outfit and then you can take like say 3 or 4 detachables, which can be an off shoulder, or you can have like nice sleeves. So you can always style them in a different way.
Yeah.
And you can also mix and match. Like if you're wearing like a black bodycon dress, you can style it up with like a white off shoulder and it will still look amazing.
Yeah.
So I feel like that concept and that brand really changed it for me in terms of traveling and fashion,
Yeah.
because then one, I'm not overpacking, and two, I still can wear this one dress in 4 different ways and
Yeah.
it will still look amazing every
Amazing.
single time.
Oh wow, that is so good. Oh my god, I will look up to them now.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, done. Is there any brand collaborations that you would want to manifest here?
I want to actually start doing more than beauty and fashion. I want to start doing a little bit more travel, share a little bit more about fitness.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say brands, but probably like expanding my niche above and beyond what I've been doing, because
Yeah.
again the content I put out there is more focused on these 2 niches.
Yeah.
So maybe like learn to share a little more of like raw snippets of me on a trip, or like just at the gym, probably not hitting the max weights but still showing up.
Yeah, because that consistency, when you say that you are such a planner and everything, it shows consistency and that discipline, and I think people will love to see that.
True.
So please start that. I will so love it.
I'll do that.
Yes. Okay, your take on luxury.
I feel like it's no longer about luxury brands, but for me personally, it's about being comfortable in my own skin in a way. Like I no longer reach out for, oh, like this brand would look so good on me, because I feel like even like a basic t-shirt would just look amazing on me if I know how to like get it right.
Yeah.
Again, in terms of like accepting my body, I like, you wouldn't believe me, but I was like really fat like a couple of years ago. I'll send you the picture, but I was almost like 30-40 kgs more than what I'm right now.
Okay.
So I've always been very conscious about my body, what would look good, what would not look good. So something that I'm learning this year is to like, accept who I am and start embracing parts of me.
Yes.
Like I'll give you an example. For the longest time, I would never wear sleeveless stuff because I have stretch marks and like I was just so like anxious about them being there.
Okay.
But this year I've stepped out in a lot of like sleeveless outfits and still felt like I'm on the top of the world.
Yeah.
So I feel like that in a way is luxury. Like, just accepting who you are, loving your body for everything it does for you and provides for you, and just being thankful every single day.
Oh wow. So is there a designer, brand that, or maybe a designer that you would want to work for?
Not really one, but I feel like so many Indian designers have been absolutely killing it,
Yes.
and not just on the Indian stage, but globally.
Yes.
Like I see so many Hollywood celebrities also sourcing from Indian brands, and I feel like that's such a proud moment for everything that they're doing for our nation and to put us on like the map of fashion in a way. So I feel like working with any of them would be such a privilege because again they've done so much for fashion in India.
Yes.
So
Okay. So, what is your take on Indian wear?
I love Indian wear.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the most extravagant, comfortable, anything like even like what do you say, like a lehenga or even just wearing like a churidar and a kurti like
Yes.
back in the day used to be so nice. It just makes you feel so much more prettier, and I genuinely love Indian wear. I love saris. I love dressing up for the festive season. So I think
Yeah.
like that's one of my favorite parts.
Wow. So, if when I asked you this question, that when you feel very happy, what do you wear? So, can we include kurtis in it?
I would say so, yeah.
Jhumkas and kurtis.
Yeah.
How would you pair that?
I think like one of my favorite memory is wearing this pink kurta that my mom had.
Mm-hmm.
I used to pair them up with like, again, I love chunky jewelry, right? So like
Yeah.
really heavy jhumkas, and just pair it with like white pants which are not too tight, not too loose, but just the right
Perfect.
amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just have like a little bit of like white heels to like, just elevate that outfit, and I think that would be pretty much it.
Wow. That is. Your mom plays a huge role in your life, I feel.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
She does. She's been my inspiration for beauty, fashion, everything. And like I've always seen her always deck up for functions, always like put makeup, and I always like loved seeing that process. And now like something that I love doing is like helping her decide what she should wear or putting makeup for her. So yeah.
Wow. So the whole circle when she is applying a lipstick on your face, and then now you being that, okay, mom, try this, try that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like now, thanks to all the brands that I work with, I get so much of like PR that, I give her some of it, and she was like, oh, I haven't spent a single money on makeup in a while. Like, I was like, yeah, like, so she's also very happy about it.
Yeah. Oh my god. Nice. Amazing. So if you would want to create a fashion brand, what would it look like?
I think something basically building the capsule wardrobe that I told you about. So have like 5 different tops or t-shirts or anything. Have 5 different kinds of bottoms, 5 different kind of jackets, 5 different kind of footwear. And you can literally mix and match any of it, and you can walk out of the door.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend 30 minutes deciding what do I wear today, but something that aligns so perfectly. Or maybe like I can create a capsule wardrobe for you if you come to me and just like give them that kind of a consultation. So something probably on those lines where I can help contribute to earth in a way that we're not doing more wastage, but like we can still look fashionable.
Any sustainable homegrown brands, when you said that to just give back?
Honestly, I haven't shopped as much in the last 2 years, I'd say, so I'm not too sure of any brands that have been killing it. But I often see like a lot of Indian brands do cool stuff. I obviously don't remember the name, but there have been so many brands who've been trying to contribute less wastage to earth.
Yeah, because in this era of fast fashion, that we need some brands to
Correct.
just okay, your take on thrifting?
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times you'll find gold mine in it. Plus, if like they say, one person's trash is another person's treasure.
Yes.
So you never know what you might find. Obviously, like probably like deep cleaner 4 times before you wear it. But like apart from that, you're pretty cool.
Yeah. Any piece that you have in in your wardrobe that is thrifted?
I wouldn't say so actually. I haven't done a lot of thrifting.
Oh.
So, but that is something I might do this year.
Oh, we will look forward to it. We'll see a haul then.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Again, strengthening my community, doing things that I love. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to like educate more people on things that bring so much love and happiness to me. I also started my own PR agency, so I want to like focus on growing that a little bit, work more with fashion brands. Yeah, I think travel more, do
Yeah.
everything I can under the sun.
Yeah, okay, wow, amazing. Yeah, if you would want to describe your style with a song.
I think it's the Girls Want Everything song from Student of the Year because trust me, that was every girl's dream when it came out.
Yes. Oh my god. This was so lovely to have you. Oh my god, this I have learned so much. The main thing is that how to stay organized. I would want to learn that.
I'll send you some
post
tips.
yes, please. And I want everyone to learn about it as well because I have not seen anyone be this particular when they are content creating as well. Because there is so much going on, and then
Correct.
to bring that is so important. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you. It was actually a blast talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
so
you.
much. Yes. Thank you for joining us on Darji Talks by Darji Magazine. If today's conversation made you think, reflect, and question fashion and beauty, then we have done our job. If you found value in today's dialogue, then please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For more behind the scenes, you can go and check our social media out. And our latest magazine is now live on our website. Do check that out as well. Till then, stay curious, stay bold, and keep redefining luxury, fashion, and beauty as you may. Signing off, Yash.